Everyone, this is a quick overview of the Statista platform today. We're just going to go over the basic functions and some important tools that you should be aware about. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to write in the message group or send me an email. But first, we'll begin with a little bit of background about Statista. So Statista, we are a data aggregation platform, and we are collecting different kind of statistical data, forecasts, and survey information, as well as different reports coming either from third-party sources, from our own primary research. And so you'll see the full collection of reports under the reports section. So Statista is a multidisciplinary platform. We cover around 80,000 topics. And to see just the summary of it, you can click into the statistics here and see the full list, so we can dive into different topics like chemical and resources, for example. And in a direct contrast, you can go down into society, going into government, maybe the environment. So just to give you a sense of the wide amount of variety that we cover on the platform. I'm just going to log in. To the main page. So I'm going to do a basic search for Statista. It's best to begin with writing out key terms rather than full sentences or full questions. So I'm going to begin with, let's try, I'm going to do a topic that I talked about with another professor about the aviation trends. So I did my search. On the left-hand side are all of the different tools that come with the Statista account. On the right are all of the results. We have several filter options. If you want to get more specific and relevant date of publication and popularity, if you want to pick a specific location, you're able to have a location focus. And then if you scroll down, you can get more specific about the regions, the countries. We cover 150 different industries, publication date, and then archives information. So this is where we put older statistics. We never delete anything off of the platform, but this is just to make room for new topics and new and updated information. So first, in the basics, we're going to go over the statistics platform. We have about 2.5 million statistics with 300 to 400 new ones being updated and added every day. So if I click into this first statistic here, just the basics about it. We provide a brief description, other statistics relating to your topic, and then we also provide you with the source. So we'll always have the source link here, which you can click and see the full report or the link where the statistic came from. So this is really useful because it shows that the statistic, it also serves as a finding aid for different reliable sources. And where Statista gets our information from is from 4 different ways. First would be our third-party data. So this is coming from financial reports, government sites, white page reports. Next would be our partnerships. So we have around 6,000 partnerships with research firms like Deloitte, McKinsey, PwC, and IRI. And then we have purchased data sets that gives you access to data that you normally would hit a paywall for. And then finally, we have our own primary research, which has really taken up about 50% of the platform. It's definitely been a major focus for us, and I'll make sure to point out when we hit those areas. But there are several download options as well. You can download the statistic using PDF, Excel, PNG, and PowerPoint. Excel is the most popular one because it takes away the visual representation of the statistic and just shows you the data. So it's really useful, especially if you wanted to add in your own information and create your own kind of chart. I'll pull this up here. First slide, just going to the source, and then the second, we have our data laid out. I can add in, just going to add in a random number here. When I highlight this, now I have my information ready to go. I have the data that I've included within this chart. And so now I'm ready to put this into any kind of publication or report. Going back, another useful tool is our infographics. This just goes into hot topic issues and news events relating to your search topic. What you can see here is this is focusing on the worst offenders for air travel emissions. With the infographic, you're able to use this in the URL or HTML code, so you can put this on a website or blog. You won't be able to edit them, but you can take a screenshot or download the part. And we also have our citation here, so you can select one of these and put into your works cited list. There are about 3 to 4 of these infographics added on a daily basis, and they're really great for presentations or proving a point about something if you wanted to begin a conversation about something. So especially this relates to what's currently going on with global warming, climate change, the focus on decreasing air travel. Another really useful tool is our topics. And our topics is a great place to begin when you first come to Statista. I always suggest to people when they're beginning their research to do a search with us and then go straight to the topics to see what we have. Because if we have something that's relating to your research, this could be a really useful place to begin. So let's go into if I wanted to look into a specific aviation industry, so industry in Italy. What you see here are some quick facts, some important key figures, and then we list 30 to 60 of the most relevant statistics relating to your topic. You can click into any one of these. We also have a collection of third-party reports that we think would help. And then if you scroll all the way up to the top, you have the ability to download all of the statistics in a PowerPoint or PDF format. The PowerPoint lets you edit the statistics, but it's just a nice way to have all of the statistics collected in one neat report. Back to the main page. We have our industry and country reports as well as city reports. And as I mentioned, you can find all of our reports under here. So you can see we have a wide variety: trend reports, country, further studies, market studies. But first, I'm going to focus on the industry reports. We have about 170 of these. And you can look into the US, the UK, Germany, France, and global. For the US, I'm going to click into one. The focus is for this one, transportation, the air industry. And what you're going to find in these reports are information about their companies, with overview of insights, financial figures, forecast information, survey information. And it's important to note that within these reports, it's also a mix of primary research from Statista. You're going to see SWOT analysis, what's the strength of the industry, what's the weakness. You can compare it to other industries. We always have our sources noted here at the bottom. And this is an example of a statistic that came from Statista from one of our surveys. And these reports are used to establish an understanding of what is going on in this industry. Why is it better than another industry, especially if you're thinking of opening up a business or just want to see basic industry trends. Next are the country reports. And this is going into an overview of 150 countries. We cover North America, Africa, Europe, Asia, South America, and the Caribbean, Europe. We go into this one, for example. So you're going to find in these country reports is the PES format. So we utilized information about their political background, what's their economy like, what's their society like, tech innovations, retail and consumption, trade and investment, and fish solution risk indices were currently added in 2019. And for both all industry reports and our country and city reports, they're updated on an annual basis. You can see that it's a very similar format, but the main difference is now we're focused on country and country comparisons. Back to the main page now. Additional studies is where you can find a collection of third-party reports that Statista has looked over and deemed credible and that you can use for research. financial report. And now I'm going to go into our expert tools. This is focusing on the primary research of Statista. It's where you're going to find a lot of the research that Statista has spent the time doing and creating our own methodology. So first, we're going to focus on our market outlook tools, which you can access up here. The first one we're going to dive into is the consumer one. Now, the consumer market outlook and all of these outlook tools were created in response to the question where you wanted, let's say you wanted to compare revenue trends of clothing. So I want to see the revenue trends of t-shirts in the US to t-shirts in the United Kingdom. Weren't able to end this research or do this research just because each country has their own way of analyzing the data. And so because of this, and because they have a different methodology, you can't do a direct apples to apples comparison. What Statista did was we created our own methodology, which you can download here, and we applied it to all of these different markets, and we applied it to 150 countries, and now you can do direct comparisons. For example, I want to go into this market directory and I want to learn more about carbonated soft drinks. Open two tabs, carbonated soft drinks. First one, I want to compare the United States as my base for all the countries. And this tool is especially useful because you can see we're going into a lot of those countries where the data is a little bit hard to find. I'm going to select United States. And for comparison's sake, let's do Brazil. I have my market, I have my location selected. Up here, the highlights are showing you the most important key figures. Over here, the market definition tells you exactly what you're looking into, what we include and what we exclude from the data. And then you can also compare and see, you can download in PDF or Excel. When we scroll down, we have access to the visual representation of what we're looking for. Revenue trends from 2010 up to 2020, revenue growth, and this is specifically in Brazil. And to compare, I mean, the US is exponentially higher, which isn't that surprising. And we also cover average revenue per capita, volume and volume growth, average volume per capita, price per unit, and then global comparison. This shows you where Brazil ranks in regards to the top 5 key players. And surprisingly, Brazil comes second after the United States. The United States has a huge market apparently in the carbonated soft drinks industry, but Brazil, in comparing to the whole other countries, is second. And then we have our key market indicators. You can see the social and economic outlook of your selected region. So what's Brazil's population in regards to age like, business cycle, maybe what their tax rates like. That's a way that you can utilize the consumer market outlook. The digital market outlook is the same kind of format, but now we're diving into emerging tech industries, like digital media and e-commerce, fintech. Mobility market, we're going into passenger cars, public transportation, and then vacation services. And then our country outlook is focusing on different kinds of segments like digital economy, society, what's their public sector like for 150 countries. If I select Chile, for example, and then I go and select maybe what's their business environment like, I can see data neatly laid out, the FDI inward flows and outward flows, important volume growth. And then if I want to look into something completely different, dive into their society and see population by age, number of households, urban population. So those are the Outlook tools. Next, I want to dive into our company database. This is a very new addition to this platform, and it's where you can see a major overview of a specific company. You can see a competitor analysis, you can see stock trends, what is their revenue flow. So I'm going to do a search for a company here. I'm going to look into Netflix. So here we just have the top key figures like global revenue, employee, and their revenue, where they rank. And then I have this all laid out year by year. Then we go into profitability metrics like EBITDA, EBIT, total assets, their margin and earning growth. They started gaining money in 2017, had a little dip in 2018. General overview, and then we go into their top competitors, as well as their contact information. The final tool I'm going to show today is our Global Consumer Survey. And this is really useful when it comes to figuring out consumer behavior and consumer interactions with different brands. So what we did was we sent out a questionnaire to 400,000, asking them about specific countries, industry, brands. You can see our industry here. Here are a couple of examples of the brands. And then when we go into methodology, I'll give you an explanation of how the survey was conducted. Cint was our main panel provider, and they were the ones who helped to send out the questionnaire and collect the data. And then we have the questionnaire here, which you can download and see kinds of questions that we asked. We go into the survey. I want to dive into one of these countries, so let's do Mexico. So just to do the basics, on the left-hand side are all the different topics that have questions. If I do this and I select appliances, refrigerator ownership by brand, and then if I go to characteristics and demographics, I can see, okay, so what brand is the main refrigerator in your household? And then I'll look over to see how is this data affected by, let's do gender. I combine these 2 points together, and I always like to add in a heat map. You can see what brand is more popular with what gender. Looks like no females had answered the question for this specific brand, so I wonder why popular am I? It looks like the most popular brand for females would be popular would be the Stanby. Another way you could use this is if you wanted to open up a business and you're trying to figure out who you're want to advertise to. So I like to use the example of music streaming since this is a newer business. And just a simple search for music, it's best to keep it simple and see what we. And so I see radio and digital, which is what I'm looking for, and then I'm going to select digital music purchaser. So then I'm going to go into characteristics and demographics. I'm going to select a bunch of different things like gender, marital status. Let's do education. Let's do annual household income. There's their community size. And so I'll cross table all of this data, add in my heat map. So now when I scroll down, I could see, okay, so when I'm advertising, I don't have to focus on a specific gender. It looks like it's pretty equal. But for age, definitely among the millennial group. For marital status, people who are married, maybe. So the idea is like families. Maybe could be the idea behind my advertisement. Someone with a bachelor's degree purchases more digital music. It doesn't look to be the most strong data or the most striking. It doesn't really make an effect of the annual household income. And then same thing for community size. Like obviously, someone in a bigger community maybe is a little bit more aware of digital streaming services. That is a couple of ways that you can use the global customer survey. And the final tool that we're going to go over today. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. As I said, if you had any questions or want to do a much deeper dive into the platform, maybe we could do some later on. Just let me know. I'd be happy to set up a time. All right. Thank you. Bye.